Greetings, it's Holly Brink, your designated managing broker for eXp Realty in Iowa. Today, in the policy and procedure training, we're going to touch on the checklist, document uploads, and late fees. So, first and foremost, just know that the checklist in SkySlope, I understand it's frustrating, but we are updating them, and I'm hoping they'll be finalized in the next week or two, and we'll be able to have them done. In the meantime, I can't really control very much about SkySlope, in that if I add a line, I can say if it's required or not required, but it's going to instantly show up if you assign that checklist to a file. It is not going to retroactively change anything on your file. That's done manually when either Tracy or myself feel like something needs to be included. So just bear with me, be patient. I know it's frustrating. I will send out the final checklist of what will be required and what is not required once it's all finalized. In the meantime, if you have questions, just plug in notes. If you have any questions or you're not sure what something is, we'll go over the checklists pretty much step by step once I'm done with them. And I believe like the listing one will be done first. That one's pretty robust and pretty done at this point. But I just wanted to touch on that. And then, so the document upload policy, we are going to do policy and procedures. So at eXp Realty, we have our independent contractor agreement, and then we have our policies and procedures. And we also have the Iowa addendum to the policies and procedures, So the Iowa addendum currently everyone received when they first came over to eXp Realty Iowa. That is also on the desk and being worked on. And once it's finished, it will be sent out. So everyone has the updated PNP, and we'll sign that and we'll put that in your file. If you want to read more about the eXp Realty policy and procedures, remember one of our key websites is explore.exprealty.com. And I'm pretty sure this is public facing, since we're a pretty transparent company and we want people to know we have nothing to hide. So here are the US policies and procedures. And what we're going to cover in today's training has to do with documents, uploading, and late fees that we're going to have to start assessing, as well as then there'll be a late letter that will be in there. So here we go. Page 6 of the policy and procedure manual, page 6 and 7. And this was in the last newsletter. It'll be in the next 2 newsletters. And really it's going to be implemented starting immediately. So just so you know, we request that fully executed paperwork is uploaded within 48 hours of execution. So you do not need to wait for other things. If you're waiting for the earnest money or a copy of the earnest money or, the pre-qualification letter, like that's fine, but we need to start reviewing the paperwork right away. And I'm sure a lot of you can appreciate that, because it's been frustrating when we haven't gotten to a file until 2 days before closing and we're like, oh, you're missing a signature, or oh, we need an initial here. So this way, we're reviewing the files within 48 hours after you upload them. So if you upload them 48 hours after execution within, and then we have 48 hours to review them, and it's just making things a lot more streamlined. So very excited that Tracy is on our team full time. But we have had issues with some people that continually wait until like the week or the day of closing to upload paperwork. So we will be enforcing the page 6 and page 7 of the policy and procedure manual. Completing and uploading document files outside company timelines is a violation of company policy and subject to an escalating fine, as well as removal from the company at the discretion of the state brokers, as outlined below. A fine of $150 shall be assessed for documents uploaded later than 10 calendar days after execution. So we will be starting to keep track of when a document is signed and dated and date stamped and when it was uploaded. Any files and so the rest are all have to do with after closing, because you'd be surprised there's a handful of people that that do this. So any files or documents uploaded after 30 days will be subject of a fee totaling 25% of the gross commission. After 60 days, subject to a fee totaling 50% of the gross commission. And after 90 days, they could be subject to having the entire gross commission forfeited. But I'm sure we can all agree that nobody should be uploading paperwork 90 days after a closing. But I mean, if it needs to be done, it can't be hidden from us. Any files that did not close and reach termination through expiration, cancellation, withdrawal, or anything of that type that are not closed out in SkySlope will result in commissions being held on any new closing until the files are cleared up, and the late fees as outlined above still apply. So just know that when you put an expiration date in SkySlope, it's not going to automatically cancel out your files. So if your client doesn't want to renew their listing, for example, you need to go into SkySlope and cancel the listing and like make a note that they decided not to renew. Any investigation or discovery made by the state brokers. So basically, we do random audits of all the MLSs to make sure that what you're advertising on your Facebook and in the MLS and other places, that those property addresses are in SkySlope. So especially with the new clear cooperation policy, if you are marketing a property for sale or for lease, then it has to be listed in your MLS within 24 hours. You can take office exclusive listings, but you cannot market them. You cannot market for sale by owners and properties that you do not have some sort of agency agreement with. So if you're doing that, we need to talk about it and figure out if there's a better way to do that. Like a compliant way. Files uploaded anytime other than outlined above is not acceptable and will result in either a delay of commission, processing, a fine, or both. And also, starting with the 10 days after execution, if you're a habitual offender, we may start asking for late letters sooner than 10 days, but if it's a once in a while thing, we're going to ask for a late letter, and I have a template for that we'll release that just says, here's our company policy, here's my explanation. I understand that this is our company policy, and here's my explanation. And here's my explanation of why the file was late. So, okay, I know this was not a super exciting review of the policy and procedure manual, but the goal is to go over something, two things compliance related, like each state meeting. So something from the eXp policy and procedure manual or the eXp ICA, or also then something formulated, with the Iowa Association of Realtors, or possibly some more localized board forms if we're seeing an issue. And so, yeah, if you have any questions, this will be the time for questions, and go ahead and reach out to me on Workplace Chat. Thank you for watching.